What is going on YouTube? This is Acid Roots. So I'm going to review the 2006 mixtape by Shawnna. Basically, this project is called Block Music, the mixtape, and it came out somewhere in early 2006. Now, the thing about this particular project is there's not a huge ton of information about it. In particular, I'd have to say Wikipedia knows a little bit about it, but they don't have like an article written about it and stuff like that. And for the most part, there's just not a ton of real outing type information just particularly about it. It's kind of a trickier mixtape to kind of find in terms of downloads. Wasn't on DatPiff, wasn't on the Internet Archive and places like that as far as that pitch kind of happens with it. So it's just kind of here and there as far as that pitch kind of goes along with it. But I would have to say I do appreciate this project quite a bit, and I would have to recommend getting it. Fact of the matter is Shawnna is kind of low key, and especially like 17, almost 20 years later after her heyday in like the mid 2000s, I'd have to suppose for the most part, Shawnna to this point is really only known for like getting some head and then maybe like one or two other songs. But she is a quality musician. She has a lot of good hits, especially on her Block Music album. I really appreciated that album. It's been a while since I've full blown listened to that project, but I do own it and I do list. I do try to fuck with it when it comes up in a shuffle or something like that. I'd have to suppose so. It's a dope enough concept to kind of get some of those. But I would have to say, the thing about this particular project, it has the same mixtape artwork as like the album cover, Block Mixtape. Block Music, the mixtape has the same artwork as like the Block Music album from 2006, which I kind of felt like was a mild disappointment. But this is a pretty quality mixtape here. I'd have to suppose there's some secret kind of extra Shawnna tracks as far it's just kind of some secret kind of extra Shawnna tracks as far as that mixture kind of has with it, just because Shawnna didn't really have a lot out. She only had like one other album apart from her Block Music album from 2006. I think that album from 2004 was called Worth the Wait. I'm gonna have to review that particular project as well. But I've been trying to locate and further find like other Shawnna projects as far as that particular mixture goes along with it, because I'm not really sure as to how many projects she's totally done. I was hoping that she had a mixtape that came out in 2008 or something like that. As of this particular point, I haven't been able to discover anything that she did in 2008 or 2010, some of her late heyday years after her Block Music album. But particularly I just kind of question if Shawnna just kind of faded into obscurity after the Block Music album from the summer of 2006, which is kind of a disappointment because that was a particularly kind of solid album. I'd have to suppose, despite the fact that it didn't manage to follow up getting some head in 2006. I do feel like the second single, Damn, was pretty boppish. Just kind of the concept of it just didn't have the affability of just like a clever kind of distinction of like getting some head. Of course, that's just a clever type song just within that pitch. But just being able to suppose you just look after just being able to say that she just kind of came and went. Shawnna just kind of came and went and eventually kind of became in like the one hit wonder kind of territory. She was just a product of like ringtone rap in like the mid 2000s, but she dried up kind of quicker than I would have wanted her to. And especially it's kind of a disappointment because she wasn't on like Ludacris's Battle of the Sexes album. That was originally going to be her next album, but she canceled out of doing that particular one and joined like T-Pain. And she joined T-Pain's Nappy Boy label, but she didn't really put out any projects over there to my knowledge. Maybe she did, maybe they're just trickier to find, but I'd have to suppose I'll have to look into it. But for some reason, it doesn't feel like but it possibly feels like she didn't. So it's just kind of the concept about it. But I would have to say this is a quality mixtape here. Definitely appreciate some of these songs. These are like some secret Shawnna songs to kind of get. There is a Ludacris feature on here, which is pretty dope. Good concept to get some more Ludacris and Shawnna songs because those are always gold as far as that particular pitch kind of happens with it. Young Berg is on here, Young Berg is on here a couple of times, which is pretty dope. I like those two particular songs that we get with him on there. And I would have to say there's just some good boppish type stuff. Now this is a pretty short mixtape. There's only 12 songs on here. And of course, some of these type ones, it's just kind of snappy. There are a few songs that are on Block Music, the album, I'd have to suppose, which is dope enough, which is fine in certain cases. But then you really only get 10 new songs as far as that pitch kind of happens with it. And one of which, I guess, the Getting Some remix is the third song that's also an original song off of Block Music. So that's just kind of the concept. So Getting Some, the remix, this is like a 13, almost 14-minute song here, which is unfortunate. I do like all the rappers on this particular song, but it's just too beefy a song for my liking as far as that pitch can happen. I probably would have just picked like 3 or 4 and just made it like a 4.5, 5.5 minute song, something like that. But there's just a lot of rappers on that particular song, so I'm not going to recommend the Getting Some Head remix. Now there is a Getting Some Head remix on Lil Wayne's Dedication too. I do like that one quite a bit. I do like the one with Ludacris, Pharrell, and Too Short. I do like the one with Ludacris, Pharrell, and Lil Wayne and Too Short on there as far as that pitch kind of has with it, but I just didn't. There's too many rappers for that particular pitch. Not really sure if there was like a single off this particular mixtape, so I'm just going to go ahead and recommend the 6 songs out of 12 that I recommend, plus the 2 Almost songs, which are also on Block Music, the album. So yeah, basically 8 out of 12 songs on here I recommend just in terms of the new stuff. Now there's actually 17 songs on this particular mixtape, but 3 of which are just intros and interludes and stuff like that. And then there's like a skit on here, like the Act Like It interlude and some stuff like that. So basically narrowing down the 17 songs to about 12. That's about 5 interludes and intros and outros and stuff like that. So there's 12 songs. Then 3 of those songs are songs that are also on Block Music. So that's really just 9 songs that you get on here. But basically out of those 12 songs that are songs at least. Basically out of those 12 songs that are songs at least, I wound up recommending to you 8. So the two almost songs that I recommend that are on Block Music, the album, would be Block Music, the title track, and then Damn with Field Mob on there. Both these are pretty good. Basically, Damn is like the second single off of Block Music, so I do recommend this one. But you might as well just get it off of Block Music, the album. It's just the same type of pitch as far as that particular kind of have. It's just a real kind of good barbecue. Damn is just a real kind of good block party and barbecue type tune as far as that pitch can have. So just a summer heater just within that particular pitch. Really like that one. Block Music's kind of a boiler on there. This has I-20 on there, which is a pretty good pitch to get that one. So it's just some good stuff just within that field. Definitely appreciate the concept of that. But to talk about these 6 songs, so basically out of the 6 songs that I recommend on here, only 4 of them are real original new songs. Basically, Bossy Remix is just a Khalees song that she threw Shawnna on, so it's a good concept to get that one in particular. I'm not going to really go in depth about that one. And then O's and Keys is just a freestyle to Young Dro's Shoulder Lane, which is a pretty good concept. Shawnna's pretty good. Shawnna's pretty good at freestyling, so I did appreciate that one in particular. She did a good enough job with that. She has like southern swag as far as that pitch can have, so that's some good stuff there. But we'll go ahead and talk about the 4 songs I recommend. Or we'll go ahead and talk about the 4 original songs. So basically, He Said, She Said with Ludacris on there is a pretty dope one. This is probably one of the best songs on the tape. Definitely, I would have to say. I mean, that's pretty obvious. That should be pretty obvious just because it's a classic Ludacris and Shawnna kind of team up. But this is just an overall nice one. It's kind of like a summery kind of peppy neighborhood romp. I would have to say, pretty good concept to get that one in particular. This is just like a spicy kind of hazed out regular afternoon. I'd have to say, and it's just an overall dope song. So I definitely appreciate this one in particular. It's a real kind of rompish type one, just slow cruise and stuff like that, just going through the neighborhood, just those sorts of pitches, just getting drive-through stuff like that, just relative pitch, just getting snackage, maybe smoke one of your vehicles, some stuff like that, just flirting with your lady in the car, some stuff like that, just a neighborhood stroll, some of those type pitches, just really appreciating like the summer weather, just stuff like that, just a breezy kind of regular, typical June, July kind of day as far as that pitch kind of has with it, just some good stuff there. Ludacris really kills this particular verse. He does a great job on here, and Shawnna, of course, has some pretty dripping swag, so I'd have to say it's a pretty good concept to get that one. This real affable type one that just works real well. Definitely a great song. It's a secret kind of song by Ludacris and Shawnna. I don't know how many full-blown folks know about this particular song, but I would definitely recommend even downloading this mixtape just for this song, because it's not really, Ludacris wasn't really on Block Music like that, unfortunately. He kind of did like a chorus or something like that. He might have been on one, I think he was on like one song with Bobby Valentino or something like that, but for the most part, this is kind of like a typical kind of club type crunch. He Said, She Says, like a typical kind of summer type energy just within that pitch of just like some smokish and just overall good, flirty type, festive type tunes. I'd say that's a pretty good one to kind of get. This definitely should have probably been on the Block Music album, but I'm glad that it wasn't, just because it's a good gem. Good concept. Get Low's a nice one. This has Young Berg on there. It's a pretty good bop. I'd have to say it's like a bouncy kind of nightclub dance hit. I'd have to say it's like a vanilla kind of 2000s vibes that this song particularly kind of has. And this is just a good outing kind of Chica's turn up bop, I'd have to say. So it's a good concept. Get that one. Get Low just feels like something that Lil Jon or Lil Scrappy would have done, something like that. Just mildly kind of crunk induced. I'd have to suppose it's interesting kind of get Young Berg on this type of hit just because this wasn't really his type of feel as far as that pitch can happen with it. But it is interesting just kind of have this particular concept. Shawnna feels right at home on this particular song, so it's a pretty nice one. Just typical kind of breezy type dance club type tune just within that pitch, I'd have to say. Nothing to It's another good Young Berg and Shawnna type team up. Definitely appreciate this one also. This is like a southern bounce kind of song, I'd have to say. Just a typical kind of jam. It's like a typical kind of dance jam, I'd have to say. It's just jazzy and illicit, I would definitely feel like, and this is just a solid kind of get crank feel this song particularly kind of has. So I appreciate this one. Nothing to It's just another good standard dance outing as far as that pitch kind of has with it. Just another typical kind of night out, just having some fun just within that pitch. These are definitely some songs that should have been on Block Music. I remember about Block Music that didn't have a ton of like dance club hits, apart from Getting Some Head and maybe Damn was more of like a cookout type tune, but Getting Some Head was kind of like a dance bop that there definitely need to be way more of. I feel like Nothing to It and Get Low are two good bops just kind of have within that sense of just like some Block Music type fare. So it's good that Shawnna kind of steps up to like the dance club and the strip club, some of those type pitches, because I don't remember how many full blown type tunes for that were on Block Music the album. So it's a good type pitch to get some of these free type ones that just work within that fare, I'd have to say. And then Murder's another good highlighted one for that pitch also. This is a real short song, less than a minute and 40 seconds. I'd have to say pretty good pitch to get that one in particular. It's like a summer kind of evening hazer, I'd have to suppose. Definitely a good concept for that. It's like a good it's like a nice sunset strip club percolator, I would have to say. Definitely a good concept for that in particular. And this is just like a snappy kind of dance outing gem, I'd have to suppose. So it's a pretty nice one. Definitely appreciate this one. This one just kind of feels like a muggy kind of stuffy type song just within the nightclub, something like that. Just real kind of getting crowded, drink spill and stuff like that. Just real kind of crazy type dance type tune, but it works for like a late night type fare. So all of these, Get Low, Nothing to It, Murder, just some real good nice. So Get Low, Nothing to It, and Murder, all some good nice ones to kind of have for like some nightclub and strip club type fare as far as that pitch kind of goes along with it. Definitely some quality type ones on here. Pretty good block album, I'd have to say. Definitely a good concept. Block music, the mixtape is on par with block music. The album, I'd have to say, it's a good 1-2 punch to get both of these, just to get some Shawn and just kind of have that particular pitch of just having some outing type. It's a very social type project. I'm gonna have to go ahead and say that the social score is gonna get a pretty rave score, I'd have to suppose. But yeah, the typical score on here. So talk about the songs I didn't recommend on here. Really, it's just about 3 songs. Apart from like the Getting Some remix, which I probably would have. Apart from just the Getting Some remix, which I probably would have recommended if it hadn't been 14 minutes, I would have to say Chicago Shit was just kind of a poor one. It was a bad example of a song that should have had Kanye West on there. Chicago Shit was just a poor one. This is a bad example of a song that had Kanye West on there. Just was really not feeling this particular song. Was not that affable or engaging, I'd have to suppose. Same thing with Taking Care of Business. That was just kind of a poor type one that just didn't really get down to business the way that it probably needed to, I'd have to suppose. Gangsta Shit, Bust Your Gun. Gangsta Shit, Bust Your Gun with Rick Ross was just a poor type one just because it had a recycled Rick Ross verse on there. I don't know why Rick Ross didn't give Shawnna an actual verse for this particular mixtape. It's too bad. Would have liked the song a little bit more if that had happened. Just a Rick Ross and Shawnna team up would have been pretty awesome just around that time because Rick Ross hadn't even dropped an album by this point in 2006. So it's just a concept to kind of get that one in particular. Really, it was just kind of a blase type song. That one just had a bad arrangement, just overall composition. I just didn't really appreciate Gangsta Shit, Bust Your Gun that much. That was just kind of a poor one, just between the sloppiness of it and the recycled Rick Ross verse, I'd have to say. So that's kind of the concept. But so me basically recommending 8 songs out of 12 on this particular mixtape. I'm gonna go ahead and give this mixtape like a 7.75 out of 10. I feel like that's pretty damn good, just to particularly kind of get it. If there would have been more original songs on here, and especially more original songs that were not remixes or recycled songs from like in the like more original songs or not recycled songs in like a mixtape type format. Not, I mean, I do like O's and Keys. It's a nice freestyle and stuff like that to Young Draw. This is a mixtape, so I do like those type of songs. But if there had been like if Block Music and Damn had been replaced with other songs by Shawnna that just were kind of more secret, kind of extra songs, I probably would have given this a lot higher score. I would have probably said like Shawnna definitely had some good digs on this particular album. She definitely had some good stuff on here. She has her swag and stuff like that, her charisma, her charm, just that overall affability and stuff like that. These bouncy type songs and bops just really work affably quite well. And it's just kind of an extra taste of Shawnna from her in her particular prime when that was just really not seen that much because she really only had one hit album, which was just Block Music, if you're not counting her 2004 album, which is just kind of the concept about it. So it's like an extra taste of Shawnna to kind of get here. Definitely appreciate this particular project. Has some extra kind of secret songs, including a Ludacris song, stuff like that, some good Young Berg bops and stuff like that. Just kind of the pitch behind it is what I have to say. Probably could have used a single, but for the most part, this does have the gems on there. So 7.75 score. Just probably would have been higher if there had been more original songs. The social score, though, I'm going to go ahead and give like the social score. I'm going to go ahead and give like a 9 out of 10 because I feel like the affability behind this particular album is pretty damn good. I'd have suppose just some real good concepts to get this sort of stuff in particular. If you do, you could probably dice up like the Getting Some remixes to kind of have some extra hits on here as far as that pitch kind of happens. I would have to say there's just some good stuff. The hits off of Block Music, the album are pretty good to get on here. I'd have suppose so. It's a dope enough concept for that in particular. There's some good strip club and nightclub type tunes on here, some good freestyle stuff like that. Just overall pitches, some barbecue type energy, some summer haze, just overall romps and stuff like that. Just plenty good festive kind of summery energy and just good day life, nightlife stuff like that just within a pitch. Just a little bit of a snappy album. If it had been a little bit better, probably would have gotten a lot higher score. I would have liked to have seen what Shawnna could have more done with this particular project, but this was so lowly kind of advertised. Just between like the album artwork being the same as like the Block Music album and just stuff like that, I just kind of feel like it was just kind of minimal in terms of like just kind of it was just kind of minimal in terms of vocalization and promotion and stuff like that. This probably could have been promoted a little bit better and just had Shawnna been carried a little bit better as far as that pitch kind of has with it, but still good concept. 7.75 score, 9 social, I'd say. So in terms of the future, that's kind of difficult just because Shawnna has not. That's kind of difficult because Shawnna hasn't put out anything in a long while. I'd suppose. I know that she at least has a couple other mixtapes. I do want to get to a couple of her mixtapes from 2012. That's at least some information. That's at least some information I know about her particular discography. It's just the fact that she has at least 3 mixtapes, 2 of which came out in 2012. It's too bad. I would have liked the 2007, 2008, 2010 mixtapes, some of those type pitches. I'd have suppose, but it's just an interesting concept to get some of these. I'm eventually also going to have to review Shawnna's album from 2004, but we'll definitely get to some more of these, I'd have to say. But this is a quality project here. Definitely should pick it up if you like Shawnna and that type of stuff, and just overall strip club, nightclub type tunes, and just overall summer type life as far as that pitch kind of goes, because this is some quality here. Do recommend it, even if you think Shawnna's a one-hit wonder. She really is, and it's just a good concept to kind of fuck with some of these and see some other stuff that she's done.